Hi everyone, how have you been? It's been a little while since I've recorded. My life just got very busy with travel plans and stuff like that, so I got a little off schedule. I think this might be, I skipped a week, or I skipped a 2-week recording. So it's been a month since I recorded. This is my Knitters Life series for 2021, and it is episode 12. Welcome. I hope you're doing okay. Thank you so much for coming over and spending time with me on my channel and listening to me talk about my crafting. This episode I have a lot of footage. I have a lot of stuff to share with you. So I'm going to skip the whiskey chat because that was the easiest thing to just not do, and it usually takes about 10 minutes. So I always try to aim for about an hour's worth of programming, and so that I'm just gonna let that go this time. It'll be back next time, and I want to, show you everything that I've been up to. You can expect a lot of clips coming in and out, especially some, more of the peripheral things that have been going on in my life over the past month. Of course, there will be plenty of my little kitty, Mr. Roo, I hope you enjoy. So, with that, I'm going to try to go in order, actually. So I am going to start with finished objects, and I'm going to start with a sewing project. So I filmed the entire process of making a skirt, which I was inspired by an Anthropologie skirt that I saw that was about $500, and it was a floor length tiered skirt. And I shared last time that I had made my very first sewing project when I was about 11 or 10, maybe even 9, was a tiered skirt. So it was a project that I knew how to make very well, and So I finished the lining for my tiered skirt. It is really cool. I made the lining first because I wasn't sure I was afraid I was making it a little big, like a little too much fabric. So I kind of rejiggered the tiers sections a bit, like that bottom tier, that is 9 yards long. So it was a real beast to gather onto the next one, which was about 6 yards, and so on and so on. So they're basically like 9, 6, 3, 2.5 or so, 2.25, and then 1.5 yards. There's no waistband because that's part of the base fabric, not the lining. But oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's so frothy and cool, like so full. I was afraid 9 yards was way too much, but it turns out it is just the right amount. So I'm gonna begin working on the fabric skirt, and I'll show you that process, a little bit of it anyway. I'm gonna prep this fabric so that it's ready when I have some time to sew. So this skirt is something that I'm going to be doing incrementally instead of in one stretch, because to me, sewing is something that I need to concentrate on. I find it difficult to do very much else. Maybe an audiobook would be the most I could do while I'm doing it. So what I need to do, my recipe for this skirt is, I had a little sketch I was going to show you, but I don't have it right now. I'll show you later. Okay, so it is 5 layers. I don't know why this isn't focusing. Wait. So the first layer is 1 width of fabric. The second layer is 1.5 widths, the third is 2 1/4, the fourth is 3 1/2, and the last is 5 1/4. Each one is supposed to finish at 7 inches. So to cut, I need, this is kind of sloppy, but I need a total of 13 1/2 strips. I'm going to cut 8 1/2 inches. So I'm cutting 8 strips at 8 1/2 inches, and then 5 1/2 strips at 9 inches. Because the bottom, it's actually 5 1/4. The bottom layer needs to be hemmed, so I want an extra inch in there. So it'll be 9 1/2, 8 1/2, and 9 1/2 inches. And that should leave me about 1/4 or 1/3 of a yard left with this fabric. My method for cutting strips is to tear it, and happily, whoever gave me this fabric, whoever cut this fabric for me, tore it. So whenever I'm doing straight pieces, this tearing it, just making a little snip on the selvage. I have my snippers there. So I'll measure, make a snip, and then just rip it across to the other selvage, cut the other selvage, and then so on and so on until I get all the strips. Yeah, that's the best way to make sure that you're getting your fabric on grain and even straight across. It's also much easier on your hands than having to cut with a scissor. So that is what's going to happen right now. Okay, it is all cut. I even cut the waistband. So I've got the most bottom layer right there, and then all these strips will become the fourth, third, second, and first layer. And then I still have like an extra 2/3 of a yard, which is awesome because I'm gonna cut some pockets out. And oh, the sketch. There it is. And you can see this is very rough, bad sketch, but I just was kind of trying to get a visual. But you can see those black scribble marks are supposed to be the tassels that I'll be putting on, and I'm going to do something at the waistband, at the center front waistband with the tassels. I like some sort of decorative something, I don't know yet. But yeah, that is the plan. My construction method for this tiered skirt is to work from the bottom up. So I've gotten the 2 rows of gathering on one side, and I'm currently hemming. Oh my God, this takes forever. Look at this. Oh, it's so much fabric. This is 1/4 of the length, of the gathering right here on the bed. The rest of it I've got 3 tiers attached right now, and I'm on the 4th tier. It is almost as long as my bed. It's still a whole lot of fabric. I forgot to show you this. I have already attached the waistband and the first layer to the lining. So after I do the join that I just showed you, the next thing to do is to join this piece, this stripe piece, to what's on my bed. So that'll be the last join. What are you doing? Oh. It's finished. Oh my God, I love it so much. I have one complaint, and that is the waistband. I made this stitched on elastic waistband and I made it too big. So you can see like I made it so that it fits by my belly button instead of my waist. Yeah, so it's a little like kind of just above, just at the high hip, I guess, above the hip bone. I might need to change it at some point, but the rest of it, oh my God, it is so fabulous and so full. I really, really love it. I'm trying to get it all in the picture for you. You're back. I hope you enjoyed. Here's the skirt in the flesh. I have worn it. It's a little wrinkled actually because I traveled with it, but I just love it. I love the noise that it makes when I'm wearing it. I love the tassels. I did not end up putting anything up on the waistband. It just seems superfluous because I'm wearing it with a t-shirt like this or a shirt over it. But wow, it is, I feel so special when I'm wearing it. So the challenge for me will actually be making sure I wear it a lot instead of just saving it for special occasions. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little project. That, I just want to say too, I have not sewn anything since that. I sewed that pretty much the week after I last broadcasted, and because I haven't sewn anything else because that took a lot out of me, like sewing that project. I was obsessed with getting it done, and I was sewing on it every day whenever I had a free moment. And yeah, so I haven't, even though I have everything prepped for the blue dress. If you're a returning viewer, you'll know this. I was talking about this blue fabric and how I was going to kind of piece together a long flowy dress out of it, kind of similar to some of the dresses that I've seen in stores this past couple months. And I just haven't cut it out yet because I know once I do, I'm going to feel very compelled to work on it. So I may start it after the 4th of July weekend. So we'll see. Yes. Okay. So on to knitting. I have a finished object. Actually, I have 2 finished objects knitting wise. They're both kind of small. Also, Martha is wearing a new cast on, which I haven't talked with you about yet, which we'll get to that. But first, let me show you some clips of a clip, actually, of a finished object that I made and have already gifted. I haven't really shared this project, and I'm about to gift it, so you won't see it on, it won't be there for me to hold it up. So I just wanted to show you quickly, I'm nearly done. This is Dawn Charm Set by Susan B. Anderson, and Susan sells kits, but I just decided to use scrap yarn, and I wanted to do this sort of 70s rainbow theme to complete it. Yeah, so pretty cute, little, easy. This is all fingering weight, just fingering weight scraps. And yeah, I did like different versions of rainbows and suns. I can say that the suns are a real pain in the neck to make. Like, it's easy to do the round part, but then these are quite tedious, as are making, I made 30 pom-poms. I have an extra pair that I accidentally did an extra pair. Who knows why or how. So I'm just gonna hang those on the end. And the cord that I'm hanging them on is just some cotton, a spool of cotton cord that I bought on Amazon for about $4. And yeah, I want to say it's like 1/8 inch wide cording. Yeah, that's it. And the eyes and mouth are embroidered. Oh, and I made an extra sun that will not be attached, so that my granddaughter has one that she can play with without having to take any down or off because I am sewing these on tightly. What I decided to do was make a knot every 6 inches to give me a spot to stitch each thing on. So yeah. What else can I tell you? Susan has a video about how to make these mini pom-poms, and one of the things that I did not realize is that these like when you make a pom-pom, you should steam it and then roll it around in your hand, and then you end up with these very fluffy pom-poms. I don't have any before that happened, but if I did, I could show you how different they look when you do that. Like they really just poof up and get puffy. So just, yeah, good tip. Good tip. Yeah, so that was really fun. That was from Making Magazine. I don't think I really talked about it in the clip. But it's from this issue of Making Magazine. I think after a year, if you're not interested in purchasing the magazine for the pattern, I believe after a year, here's what I made. You can buy just that pattern, that charm set. It was pretty fun to, I mean, it was wonderful it's wonderful to make something when you know the recipient, when you know that the recipient is going to appreciate it. And oh, I have a picture of it hanging up in my granddaughter's room, so I will show you that now. Yeah, so I did go to Texas. I have a couple clips here of some of or I may have already put some in, of the landscape and what it looks like. It's what was really interesting to me about El Paso, and maybe some of you have been there, was how seamless, when you're looking at the landscape, how seamless the border between Mexico and the U.S. is. Like I mean, yes, the river, the Rio Grande, goes between it, but it was really seamless from a visual perspective. There's a sculpture that you might have seen, or you may see in the clip I'm showing now, that has a red X. It's like a big red X that is right on the border. So that's kind of a nice landmark when you're down in the valley to see, oh, okay, that's where the border is. It's not possible to cross the border anywhere. There are footbridges. There are 3 footbridges, I think, that are spread out across the city that are manned on both sides by Border Patrol. So we did not go across the border. My daughter-in-law told me it was too dangerous, so I didn't go. I'm interested though, so maybe at a future date, if it's not as dangerous, we could go across the border. I've been across that border, actually. I went across that border in the 70s when I was a child. My parents really enjoyed going to Mexico, and I grew up in California, so I mean, Mexico's right there. We went to Mexico frequently. Yeah, so my parents enjoyed going to Mexico, and we camped in Mexico and stuff, so anyway, a little digression just to let you know what I've been up to. So yes, I also, my other finished object, and then I'm going to tell you what I worked on while I was in Texas and going to Texas. So I finished another pair of the Andrea Renee DRK Everyday Socks. This is my second pair that I've made. I am enjoying making socks out of my hand spun, and I have a lot of single skeins of hand spun that have, been building up. They're actually, I don't think you can see, but it's in the cubby. It's a cubby like the size of that right there behind me, and it's pretty full. I have 2 other projects in mind that are bigger than socks that will use single skeins. One is the Night Shift shawl by Andrea Mowry, and the Cozy McBlanket cardigan that will also use a lot of single skeins of hand spun. I like belatedly realized that the Night Shift was actually a good pattern to use up your hand spun. I also have over this shoulder right here, right there, that's all my little
small amounts of hand spun that are left over from things that I have knitted. So I'm hoping when I do the night shift shawl, I can, hope I'm saying that right, I can use more hand spun, like some of those bits and pieces. But anyway, this was from a skein that was a gradient. So this is what's left. It was a green to purple gradient with orange in between. And yeah, it was, you know, it was interesting. I don't particularly love these colors, but you know, they're socks and they'll be fun. These fit me, so if you are following along with my sock journey, I made another pair of the same pattern, and it is a toe-up sock pattern. If you're not familiar, it is all 2x2 rib all the way up, and you do a fleagle heel. My only concern about the fleagle heel is that this part right here is in stockinette, and that's the part that would be against the shoe, which is a part of the sock which probably gets the most wear. So you know, I'm gonna go ahead and make one more pair of these everyday socks for now. I do really like how the fleagle heel is pretty easy to make, in terms of like, you're not doing a heel flap where you're stopping, you're just going back and forth. Instead, you're doing a bunch of increases, but you're always going in the round. You're not going back and forth. So you're doing this like section of increases to create the heel, and then you keep knitting the top of the foot. I forget what this is called. Is this the instep? I do enjoy knitting this sock, and I thought, you know, I have enough of, this is one of two skeins, because this was a gradient, I went ahead and divided it before I knit either sock. So I have enough. I have about 25 grams of each skein left, which should be enough for a shorty pair. So I carried this around with me while I was traveling, and I thought I would go ahead and cast on a shorty pair. But the shorty pair that I have made is the Jelly Bean sock by Orange Knits. I want to say it's Orange Knits. I have a little matcha latte, which I really didn't stir the matcha very well, so you see some chunks in there. So I never cast it on, and I think it's just that gradient. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right pattern for me to do for a shorty sock. I do, like I said, I do really like, it's also a heel flap, which just, yeah, I don't know. I'm exploring sock knitting right now. I'm not an accomplished sock knitter. I'm an accomplished knitter, but not an accomplished sock knitter. So I'm just kind of feeling my way. But this pattern is enjoyable. I do like it quite a lot. I end up knitting on it while I am outside with the cat. I take my cat outside when it's nice weather. We go out for about an hour. If it's raining, we sit on the front porch, and he doesn't last too long out there. Like, he gets a little bored. But yeah, he knows his walk time is about 4 o'clock every day. So he will ask to go outside at that time, and we walk around. And I knit as I'm out there with him. It really helps me pass the time, because it could be really boring to walk a cat. The other thing that I have worked a lot on, especially while I was traveling, while I was going to Texas and coming back. And while I was there, somewhat, I worked on my Zigbee Interrupted. So I am going to show you a clip that I took about a week and a half ago, and then I will show you where I'm at. Here's an update on my Zigbee Interrupted. So before I went for my trip to El Paso, these 2 panels were done, and I completed this one on my trip, basically flying. This was all done in the air pretty much. I do have one more stripe to do in the brown color, and then I'm going to start the second panel. So these 2 will go into each other, and then these 2 will go into each other, and there'll be a connecting section of motifs. So this is one side, this is the other. Yeah, just a quick little update. I am packing for my beach vacation, my beach weekend, and I'm not going to bring this because this crochet takes a lot of concentration. It's really not good for social situations, for me anyway. I'm just not skillful enough to crochet and chitter chat, so this will be staying behind, but I look forward to working on it next week. All right, welcome back. So since that clip, I have joined these 2 panels. Let me show it to you this way. And I finished the last stripe, the brown, which wasn't on there. So yeah, that is what those look like. So this is half the shawl. And I have also I have almost all the motifs done for the 4th section, which connects to the blue purple section. So yeah, this will connect here. Let's see if I can show it to you well. Yeah, there you go. So it'll connect there, and it will then stripe in all of the colors that you're seeing here in this part, except for this blue-pink stripe, because that blue-pink stripe is the joining stripe for this panel here. So I did one major modification to the Zigbee. I mean, I've seen like some pretty interesting modifications. So some people are not doing their stripes as wide as the pattern is written. They're doing smaller stripes with their colors so that they're getting more of a repeat. I just didn't want to weave in that many ends. It's already a lot of ends to weave in as it is. And I am weaving in as I go generally, but sometimes you just can't avoid an end. But yeah, so the mod I did was I added 2 extra panels, 2 extra motifs in the stripe. So it's a little bit wider. It's supposed to be 6 motifs wide as the pattern is written, which means it'd be this wide. So I have another about 4 inches, I'd say, from adding those extra motifs. The other thing I did, just because I didn't know, I haven't crocheted since I was in high school, which was a really, really long time ago. I didn't realize that you're supposed to block before you start joining together the motifs and things. So I did not do that. And I just stayed consistent, even though because I learned that I should have been blocking as I go. I just decided, well, it is what it is, and I'll deal with it when I wet block after the project is completely done. I really think my favorite panel is this one. It's so pretty. And I imagine you might be thinking that this is so different from these 2, but I think when I get this panel done, which has a little bit of the blues and purples in it, and it has the pinks and some yellow, which is going to help connect this panel, because this has the lime green, so I'm going from lime green being dominant here to having a golden color be dominant in this section. I think that will really tie it all together. I'm excited to have this done. I expect to have this done by my next episode for sure. It is a project that does require concentration for me, but I really, really, really enjoy doing these little motifs. These just, every morning, like to get up, I always like to do a little crafting in the morning for about 30 to 60 minutes, depending on when I get up and how much time I have before I have to start work. I mean, even before, when I was commuting and going to the office, I still did that. I crafted a little bit. I'd get my coffee, sit down, and do a little crafting while I sip my coffee. But making these little squares, oh, it's so fun. It's so fun to play with color. Like if one of the reasons you enjoy crafting, whether it's crochet or knitting or anything, is because of the color, because you get to play with color, you'd really enjoy doing this. It's very simple, these little squares. You have to practice. I made a couple practice ones and I screwed up. And you realize pretty quickly that you made some mistakes. And then you learn how to read it. At least for me, it was pretty easy to get. I probably made like 4 or 5 practice motifs out of scraps before I jumped into making them in my yarn. Yeah, very, very happy with this. And the yarn is, a lot of it is mini skeins from Advent in the past. Some of them are from Advent, like an Advent that I got in 2020. I got a 7 skein Advent from Stress Knits in 2020, and I'm using all 7 skeins in this. Because I'm doing a bigger, a wider than the pattern's written, I am using up a lot of the mini skeins. So this is from the pink green panel. And so you can get an idea, this is about how much I have left of the mini skeins. I do have one more motif panel to make with these. By the way, this is what is known as a motif. I made one extra one for some weird reason when I was doing this. So yeah, it's kind of cool to be using up all of the mini skeins. I do really like that. This is all I have left of the brown. I don't know what happened. It's a very tiny amount. This is from one of Stacy's. This is, I think she calls it Coffee Bean. I think the color is called Coffee Bean. It's a really, actually, I love this brown. It's very, very pretty. I like her color sense. It really jives with my color sense as well. Though, I mean, some of her colors are very soft and pastel-y, so if that's not your jam, you may not like them. But yeah, I've gone overboard on Advents, which I'll talk about at some point. Maybe not even this episode, but at some point down the road. Okay. I'm not to that yet. I have made progress on my Stonecrop cardigan, but not as much as you'd think. But it's probably, I'm going to totally blame the fact that I was traveling a lot. Last time I think I had just started the sleeve, and I am nearly at the end of the first sleeve, and then I will do the second sleeve. I generally knit sleeves so fast. Of course, these are colorwork sleeves, so they're a little slower. But Stonecrop Cardigan by Andrea Mowry, before I launch into my not complaints, but like my justification for why it's taking me so long. This is a big project. Like when you get to sleeves, it's not so easy to drag around with you. So it's sort of like I've got to work on it when I'm sitting on the couch and in my house. And though I took it with me to the beach because I drove in my car, I just didn't work on it there. It is, color work does require a little bit of concentration, and I usually find, for me, sleeve knitting is pretty speedy, and I usually find that when I finish the first sleeve, once I'm done with the first sleeve, my second sleeve goes much faster, because the first sleeve I'm sort of figuring out how much longer do I have to knit, and where do I put these decreases and all of that. And I'm super close to the bottom of this sleeve. I think I have to do another section of bobbles and then another checkerboard zigzag, and then I do the rib. Let me tell you about the yarn. I'm not gonna, oh my goodness. Today has been the day of finding treasures in my project bags. I was wondering where this was. I love those little short half meter, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to show it to you this way. Half meter cords, charging cords, because they're great when you're sitting at your computer and you're trying to charge your phone when you don't really want to have a long cord to deal with. Ah, crud, I thought I had the ball band for this. Okay, so this yarn is, I'm so messy today too. All you got today from me is lipstick. Maybe a little blush. No, I didn't do anything with my hair. This is what my hair looks like when I just wash it and don't do anything to it. Don't even dry it. Anyway, the main color is this gorgeous Ranch 03 from Brooklyn Tweed. It's so pretty. It's so nice. It smells when you first open it. It smells like bug repellent, which is probably good because maybe it's repelling bugs when you're knitting on it or when it's sitting around. But it starts to air out after time. I imagine when I soak it and stuff, it'll be fine. And then my contrast color is this one. It's from Spin Cycle, and it's called Summer Love. This is a full skein. I'm almost done with my first skein. So I'll be dipping into this a little bit for the second sleeve. But yeah, I won't use much of it. So that's cool. I love having some Spin Cycle yarns on hand for things when I want to, when I'm planning new projects and stuff. It's nice to have a handful of them in my stash. So yeah, that is the Stonecrop cardigan. I hope I have this done next time I see you. Okay, other projects that got a little bit of work. I actually cast on that and this next one. If you're new, you're just gonna think I love Andrea Mowry's patterns. I do really love her patterns, but I'm not to the point where that's all I knit, clearly, because that is not an Andrea Mowry. But I cast on both of these to get things done for her. She had a knit along from March to May. I think she called it March to May knit along, and I was trying to work on one or both of these for that knit along. And the second one, which is the stripes sweater, I really struggled with the colors, which I talked all about in my last episode if you've seen it. So I have done a little progress. I think I had maybe just split for the sleeves, so I've knit several stripes. This pattern, and the yarn is all the La Bien-Aimée Cashmere Merino. This is La Bien-Aimée Yellow. This is Pinku. This is Ichigo. This is Vespa Graffiti. This is Lush. And the gray one is Air Guitar. The gray rainbow is Air Guitar. This also did not get much work because it is I have to carry around 6 skeins of yarn to work on this. So it's in this project bag. I have them all in there. And yeah, it's a big project to haul around, so I don't really haul it around. So I kind of have right now these 2 projects that require, actually 3, because the crochet one too. Once you do the motifs, doing the stripes, when you're doing you do that pattern panel by panel, so it's not too bad. It is easy to travel with. I did take it to Texas. But these other 2, really require, it's a lot, they take a lot of space. So I had taken that striped sweater out with me to the beach, and I did work on it because it is mindless. You just have to count the rows and do the same number of rows per stripe, so that makes it pretty easy. Yeah, so that's the update on that. I can now get to the new cast on. How am I doing time-wise? Oh, I'm doing really well. But I know I'm interspersing some clips. So, okay. If you're a returning viewer, you're going to recognize this gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. Can you see? Yeah, so this is this beautiful, the star here is the yarn really, though this pattern is pretty cool. I'll talk about that. Oh, I have a clip. I totally forgot. I'm going to show it here. I've been working on the center point popover in my hand spun yarn, and the construction is really interesting. You cast on here and then knit your way out. For the front and for the back, you make a box. And then that top line becomes the neckline. And then at a certain point, you attach the front to the back, and then you knit all the way around, front and back. And you make a shoulder as well as increasing for the bust and hip. It's really crazy. First of all, like, do you love this rainbow? Isn't it awesome? I hope it doesn't look too targety. I don't think it will. Like, I don't think, because I'm working in such long repeats now, I don't think the skein will repeat like that in a rainbow target sort of thing, but it's really beautiful. And same with the front. So the front is less, it's got a little bit of a rainbow action here, but then it sort of just gets mushed together, colors doing things. Yeah, so I put this on the form because I was a little concerned about, I don't want draggy armpits, right? So I don't want my arm's eye to be below my bust line. It just will be uncomfortable. I'll be able to put my elbow next to my side while I'm wearing the sweater, inside the sweater. Not a thing that I like. And then whenever you lift your arm, your whole entire front, bottom comes up. So I suppose like the technical term for that type of sleeve is a dolman sleeve. I do not want a dolman sleeve. So as I was knitting along, I last night when I was laying down to go to sleep, I was obsessing about the dolman sleeve. So I had to grab some of my long extensions and just see how it looked. So this is my first time seeing it. It looks amazing. But now I can sort of figure out what should I do next, because the pattern has you do a series of shoulder decreases to like make shoulder shaping. And then when you're done with the shoulder shaping, you're also done with the length, which I also have a big bust, so I'm not sure that the length will be enough for me. But this at least gives me a good idea of what it is that I'm dealing with in terms of the sweater construction. So yeah, super cool. We'll see what happens. Okay. So you've seen my dilemma with this. I want to talk more about what I talked about in that, because I did make a decision. I have divided for the sleeves, and that is not what the pattern tells you to do. But first, let me tell you about the yarn real quick. This is the yarn here is hand spun. It is a true floor ply, meaning I plied all 4 strands together at the same time. I talked a lot about how I constructed this yarn in earlier Knitter's Life episodes, which I will link in, I think, in a box over this shoulder. No, this shoulder over here. You can click it if you are interested. I'll also have them in the description box if you want to continue watching this and then backtrack to see that. But yeah, this was a really, really fun and interesting spin. And I was so excited to see how it knit up. And I am so pleased with this beautiful gradient rainbow. And I have knitted more since that clip, so you can see what is happening. Because the repeats were much bigger, I didn't get as much of the gradient. The gradient happens, but it just is happening on a longer amount of stitches. So it was so fun. Okay, check this out. Look at this armhole. Here's my armpit way up here. Here's the end of my bra line right here. But let me explain what's going to happen. For the way I'm doing this, this is a modification from the pattern. I went ahead and split off for the sleeves at this point here. And then what happens when you knit the sleeve is you do decreases back up. So this will get closed up by this amount of stitches. There's 20 stitches here. So this will get closed back up to about here, so that'll be about halfway up my bra line, which is great. Because if it were down here, here's my waist. This is Martha, by the way, and if you're new, she's my size. She's a little slimmer in the hips than I am these days, but her top body is exactly my size, both vertical and horizontal. So it makes it super easy for me to work on patterns on my body. She is good stand-in. So anyway, my waist is right here, right where this line is. So I don't know about you, but like my elbow hits my waist, so I'd be able to like have my elbow touch my side, which is what I was talking about in that video clip, inside the sweater, which is such a horrible, like, because in your arms, your elbows get stuck on the armhole and you push, it's just, I have one sweater that's like that, and I will not have any more. I don't want to make any more that way. So anyway, what will happen is that there will be a closing up of this armhole in the sleeve construction, and the sleeve will also, the shoulder will continue to be decreased. So it'll be a nice drop shoulder. So my total armhole will probably be like that in there when I do the rest of the decreases here and decreases here. Right now what I'm doing is knitting in the round just for the body in the same pattern. And it is one that it's basically doing a 2 rows by 2 rows stockinette, reverse stockinette. So that's what you're seeing here, which will, means it's going to stretch a lot when I block it. So yeah, I'm going to keep going for a while to get to like about high hip, probably about, actually I won't go that much further. It'll be another 3 inches or so in the length. And then you just bind off. There's no rib finish or anything. So whichever row you're done with, you just bind off. The neck, what happens with the neck in the pattern, you add a neckband, and then if you want, you add a hood, which I want. So there's going to be a hood attached. It's so cute. And then of course sleeves. So you can do short sleeves, long sleeves, no hood. I don't know if I said what this pattern is. I probably put it in the on screen by now, but it is the center point popover pattern. It is available from Purl Soho, and it is designed by a woman whose name is not familiar to me, so I'm gonna just put it on screen because I don't really remember, and I'm sure I'll butcher the pronunciation. So now let me tell you what the pattern tells you to do. I actually think the designer is probably short. I think she's shorter than I am. I would guess she's probably like 5 feet. This is a genius pattern in the way that she thought about how to put this together, because you are knitting from the center out, and that's really cool. I love that idea. of knitting from the center out. And the way that she constructed it, you knit the entire thing center out. You do all of those drops. You don't do this piece that I did. These two lines would come together if you knit the pattern the way she intended. And but what would have happened if I followed her pattern, if I followed the instructions for my size, I still wouldn't be ending the armhole. I'd still be making a longer and longer armhole. I think I would be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I would be doing 2 more rows. Yeah, or 3 more rows, 3 more sections. So it'd be another like inch. So my armhole would be way down here on my hip. And I was just thinking to myself, there's just no way. I do not want that kind of fit. I just don't. I just would never wear it. And I love this. I think this is going to be really cool. Kudos to people that just want to follow the pattern. Great. I hope that works for you. But I just can't help doing mods when I see a potential problem. So that is what happened here. I saw a potential problem and just decided I was going to modify it. So we'll see what happens. I hope in the end I like it. I think I will. I think it's going to be really wearable. I love sort of this like homemade sort of 70s vibe that's happening in the, you know, in the visual of the striping and stuff that's happening on the sweater. Yeah, I think it's going to be really cute. So anyway, that is that. Is that all my cast-ons? Yes. I've been really resisting. Oh no, I have one more. And this has been my Walk the Cat knit since I finished the socks. This is, I made a little progress on this from the last time. This is the Open Edge t-shirt by Jessie Maid. I think I have about 4 more inches to knit. This is a bottom-up knit. I have about 4 more inches to knit before I split for sleeves and so you knit in the round, of course, bottom up, and then when you reach the armhole, you knit flat for the front, flat for the back, join them at the shoulders, and then do a little sleeve. This is yarn by Yarn Love Yarn. It is a 65% silk, 35% linen, so it's really great for summertime. Perfect for wearing to my office, which is quite cold, but I am very slow at working on it. Not for any reason other than I just have other things that have distracted me. And I'm also not incredibly enthusiastic about having another summer sweater, because I have about 3 or 4 summer sweaters that already, and I'm only going to the office once a week, so it's not, yeah, I don't know. It is whatever. I had the yarn, I just wanted to knit it. I had bought it last year. The colorway is Living Coral if you're interested. I see a lot of matcha on the bottom there. Yeah, I wanted to make something out of it. Nothing against the yarn. It's really beautiful yarn. I hope I like it. Maybe I'll like it more. It's kind of one of those things that I'm not incredibly excited about. It's just kind of meh, but sometimes it's, you know, you do meh knits. So what you saw me spinning is this right here. This is by Green Goat Ranch, and it is the colorway Fairy Godmother. It has a little bit of sparkle in it, which I think you can kind of catch in the sun. It is a blend of wool, silk, bamboo, and sparkle. It is, you can see it's a 1.8 ounce battling. It takes 2 to make a full skein for socks. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't know that I'm going to make socks necessarily. It's just something to work on. Speaking about spinning, Tour de Fleece starts tomorrow. I got a head start because I know I'm going to be taking some time off. And I am currently spinning this yarn, this fiber right here. I bought this last year. This is by John Arbin. It is, oh, that's actually a good way to show you. But I want to hold this out for a little bit. This is combed top from John Arbin. It comes like this in a long piece. This, I had divided it. I bought 200 grams of this last year in their, so John Arbin Textiles is a UK yarn maker, and he also sells, they also sell comb top. The yarn is, you know, as expensive as yarn normally is, so you can spend like $25 or $35 per skein, but the comb top like this is about 50 grams worth right here, is only $7 or $8, given whatever the exchange rate is, for 100 grams. So instead of, you're getting it for about the third of the cost of what a skein is. And I'm a spinner, so I was like, I'm just gonna buy some comb top. So I did spin already 1 bobbin. Since I bought 200 grams, I thought I would do 2 100-gram skeins. So this is what it looks like spun. Isn't that crazy? Like, let me hold it back here. It just looks like gray, right? It kind of almost looks like an oil slick, I think. So what's interesting about this line, I think this is their line based on apples. So this one is named for an apple called Duffin. They have the entire line. There's like 15 or 18 colors that are all named for apples. I think they call it their Apple Door collection. And you can buy it as yarn already, or you can buy it as comb top. But I was attracted to this beautiful turquoisey blue because if you know me, you know I love my turquoise. However, when it spins, that's what you get. So it turns out when you mix red, blue, and yellow, you get kind of a muddy color. I think this is one of those things that I didn't get what I want, but I got what I need. That's what I'm going to say for now. So this is just 1 bobbin. I'm making 4. And they had another, they do an open, what they call, it's kind of like an open house. Like once a year, they do an annual anniversary party in mid-June. So they always have these show specials. Actually, it's the beginning of June because I think I bought it like maybe around the 1st or 2nd of June. I think it's the first weekend of June. And anyway, so they were showing like all their new things, and they usually have specials and stuff. And last year these were specials. This was a special. I bought another color too, which is the same colors, red, blue, and yellow, but in different proportions. So I'll end up with a different color. And I think that's the scheme behind the entire line, is that it's like different portions of red, blue, and yellow, which is kind of cool. That's the way Jill Draper does her dyeing as well. She only uses red, blue, and yellow, the primary colors, to make all her colors. So yeah, I ended up buying another 100 grams of this so I could have a sweater's quantity, and then I bought 2 sweaters quantities of other comb top. I didn't spend more than like $60. So I'm going to end up with 3 sweaters quantities for like $60, which is really, really great. It's a really good a really good buy. But yeah, anyway, I don't have a plan for this. It was just to start spinning something for Tour de Fleece. So if you're not familiar with Tour de Fleece, if you're not a spinner, Tour de Fleece is a 3-week spinning period where you join a team, and the team might have different goals, and you can join like chill teams, or you can join a team that's like more competitive, and they'll sort of like cross compete with each other and within the team, but also with other teams. I'm on a very chill team where you set your own goals, and my goals this time around the idea is you spin every day. Some people spend while watching Tour de France, the bike race. So it kind of parallels the bike race. You're supposed to have rest days when they have rest days, and challenge days when they have challenge days, and things like that. And your challenges vary according to spinner and all of that. So my chill team lets us do whatever we want. We set our own goals. We just chat on Instagram or on Ravelry. They're on both. My team is by Green Goat Ranch and Wool for the Dame, which are 2 indie dyers and slash farmers. Green Goat is actually a farm, they have joined together to create a team, and there's about maybe 15 or 18 of us on the team so far. And we just make our own goals and cheer each other on, and chat about spinning and stuff. So I am trying to I want to participate, so I will be spinning a lot. So there might be a lot more spinning in my next episode. I am. So I'm working on that project, and my other fleece hasn't arrived yet from John Arbin. So I don't know if I'm going to get it in time for Tour de Fleece or not. But it's no big deal. I have so many other things to spin, and what I decided to spin for my challenge days is some Angora that I bought. I think I talked about it. I bought it at Maryland Sheep and Wool, virtual Maryland Sheep and Wool. So I want to work that. I want to spin that somehow. I don't have a lot of it. I think I have 4 ounces. So that'll be for my challenge, because I don't know what it's like. I imagine it's very slippery. So yeah, that's going to be something fun to try. All right, I am almost done. I just need to talk about stash acquisitions, which I don't have much. My yarn dollars have been going towards advent calendars. Yeah, I really spent a lot. Anyway, that's been my majority of my stash, and I've told myself I'm not buying any more stash for the rest of the year, because that's a lot of yarn. Even Rhinebeck. I'm not sure I'm going to Rhinebeck. I hope you get a chance to go to Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck coincides this year with my granddaughter's first birthday, and so I will probably be in Texas that weekend. The only way I won't be in Texas that weekend is if the party, her first birthday party, is the weekend before or the weekend after. I think my son and daughter-in-law are trying to figure it out. So if I go to Rhinebeck, I'm just going to socialize. I don't think I'll buy much. I'll probably just go on this Saturday. Anyway, I have one last thing to tell you about. I got this lovely gift from Mary of Hugs Through Shrugs, which is a organization here in New Jersey that involves makers in making shawls for women that are going through pediatric related cancer issues, meaning like they have children that are sick with cancer. And I want to make sure I'm getting all this down. So they are a volunteer-based charity that support moms battling with critical pediatric illness and those who have lived affected by childhood cancer. All of the money raised from the sale of their items and their online shop, which is hugsthroughshrugs.org, all go towards that charity 100%. So you can either buy yarn kits from them and the profits go to the organization, or you can also you can buy the kit and make the shawl and donate it, or you can just buy the kit and make the shawl and keep it, or you can make shawls using your own yarn and donate it. So Mary was thanking me, sent me this thank you, which this just like tells you how small or how generous, but also how small this community is, how generous it is, and how I'm just still floored. So as I show you this, I'll tell you. So she sent me a kit for a Tanzanian crochet shawl, which and it comes with everything you need in the kit, including the pattern. I've never Tanzanian crocheted. I have no idea. Oh, but look at that massive hook. So I don't know if anyone else has. So we'll see what happens with that. I have all the yarn I need for the shawl, and then I can donate it. I love this idea. The reason that Mary was thanking me was because I connected her through this channel, not knowing, just talking to you all. I connected her with Knit and Escape, and she got to be a charity that was highlighted in one of the virtual events that Knit and Escape had. So now she's connected with Christy Glass, and she's able to do events, as they work for her schedule and stuff. So I was just like, wow, that's amazing. Like, my tiny little channel with my tiny little viewership reached someone that connected them in another way, where they were able to get a bigger platform to talk about a wonderful charity. Yeah, it just like, I'm so humbled, and yeah, just wowed by this amazing, like, what a gift crafting is, and how it just like, it's just this circle where it's you get self-reward, but you can also reward others making things with your hands. It's so cool. It's just amazing. I'm gonna skip self-care this week. That's my self-care. That little chat I just did. I'm not gonna do any other products. I do have some products in mind. I've actually got a bunch of film clips that I haven't shared with you yet because I just haven't fit them in. Other things have come my way and seem more pertinent to talk to you about. So I'm gonna end here on this lovely note. I hope you get a chance to check out Hugs from Shugs. Hugs Through Shugs, Shrugs, hugsthroughshrugs.org. I hope you get a chance to check them out, and and maybe make something for a mom that's going through something really tough. Thank you so much for being here and for being part of my crafting experience and listening to me. And I will see you again in 2 weeks' time with more content and updates on my crafting and my making. And I hope you also are doing well, and I will see you next time. Bye.